And hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Ben Gioia from influencewithaheart.com and doing my periodic segment here as a Facebook Live called Interviews with Kick-Ass Heart-Based Thought Leaders. And today I'm super duper excited, honored, and all those other kind of good, happy words that my guest today is Sarai Schneider. And I would love to introduce her because she's an amazing woman, amazing person, amazing kick-ass heart-based thought leader. So in Sarai's words, I believe healing our ancestral trauma can help change the world and future generations. I'm passionate about connecting spirit-minded people with the wisdom of their ancestors through divination, helping to heal the wounds of the past so they may live a brighter future. I've been active in the healing arts since 2001, studied for 2 years with Malidoma Some. Is that correct? Nice. PhD, who's a Dagara elder, shaman, and author in 2007. Sarai is also a shamanic healing practitioner, Usui Reiki master, and Shambhala Reiki practitioner, plus a therapeutic and prenatal massage therapist with 15 years of experience, service, and dedication. So what an amazing bio, amazing bunch of credentials, and as a healer and a powerful being on the earth. So, Sarai, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting. I've been snowed in here in Seattle for a couple of days, so this is a fun thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm excited to share with you today.
Nice. Are you wearing your white sweater in honor of the snow?
My winter whites, yes. Why not?
Beautiful. Well, awesome. Well, if y'all don't know the context of how Sarai and I know each other, it's probably been for 7 years or so, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I lose time is an amorphous thing for me, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So we overlapped from both of us living in the Bay Area for quite a few years, even though Sarai's now in the Seattle area. Mm-hmm. So we've run into each other at parties and at ceremonies and a few other places, and have always, had enjoyed each other's presence. And I think over the years I kept saying, "Hey, Sarai, you got a bunch of really good stuff. I'd love to help you out with that."
And finally it happened.
Yeah, and so I finally accepted. And let me re-clarify. Finally meant that it was the right time for us to to collaborate together. And yeah, Sarai was one of the members of my first round of my coaching program, my group coaching program, called the Thought Leadership Overhaul. And Sarai, it was really great that you were in that with us. How was your experience in that, and how'd you like working with me?
It was all a great experience. I want to backtrack a little bit and just say,
please.
I have connected over various times over the years, and I have felt drawn to work with you in various ways, and it never really was quite the right time or in alignment, and all of a sudden things came together. It's like, oh, okay, now. I really I pay attention to those things, particularly in my work and following my intuition. And so yeah, it did feel like it was the right time, and it was, and I was really grateful to be a part of that group. It felt really supportive and helpful. And I'm pretty sure I've said it to you. I've said it before. One of the things I love about working with you, Ben, is you're easily one of the most authentic people I've ever met. And so when it comes to doing this kind of like marketing type work, or, really working on how we're presenting our work in the world, that's important to me, that it's coming from the heart. Like for me, especially, I'm just like, I can't do marketing BS. I can't be inauthentic. I can't, I've seen so many spiels out there and people selling their coaching programs, and I'm just, yeah, it doesn't sit well with me. And so when you presented that, it was like, oh yeah, maybe I've been wanting to get started on some things. So, working in that group was really helpful in helping me to gain some clarity and focus and practice. uh,
Hmm.
the opportunity to kind of practice speaking about what I do. We'll see how it goes today. But as we
So,
put
so
it in,
far, so good.
but uh but really, I was kind of even reviewing my notes the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of like in retrospect I can go back and I'm like, oh, that kind of filtered in on its own and starts to flow through things that I'm sharing in a particular way. But really, I really appreciated the practice and working in a group to receive that feedback
Mhm.
from other people to see if it's how it's landing, how it's resonating, and you kind of hopping in there and really helping us to fine tune that. I found to be really helpful as well.
Yeah, awesome. I'm happy to hear that. And are you finding that you can apply the stuff that we worked on together, kind of throughout your business?
As I'm working on that, I think last time we connected, I've been on quite a journey.
Yep.
Out of the country and back. I got sick. So it's funny because like I said, as I was revisiting that, I'm like, oh yeah, there are definitely applicable ways to be putting this into action. And so I'm excited to get started on that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Really happy to hear that.
Action
Yeah,
orientedly. Yeah.
yeah. Cool, cool. And yeah, and thank you again for being on this this show today. And I'm really, really excited about the content that you're going to share. And I know that everybody who's watching it, whether they're catching it live or in the replay, is going to get a bunch of benefit out of this, and probably have their minds blown in little or big ways. We'll see what happens.
No pressure.
No pressure. No, just unlocking unlocking the gates. So yeah, so I'd love for you to share what you have in store for us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of unlocking gates, this is my gateway. um, excuse me. What I wanted to share today was why work with your ancestors. And 1 second, excuse me. And so before I hopped on today, and it's pretty much my daily practice to come to my altar and sit with my ancestors. And so I asked them today what they wanted to talk about.
Yep.
Because when I work with the ancestors, I can't have a conversation like this without inviting them in to the conversation, because they're the ones doing the work and helping me facilitate this work for others. It's symbiotic relationship. It's just something that flows through my life, and it's something I've cultivated over time, and that's what I'm really excited about sharing with people, is how to cultivate a relationship with your ancestors. And one of the things they were wanting me to share was talk about, it's not just why, but why now. Like, why is it an important time in the world to be connecting with your ancestors? Not just connecting, but really looking at healing our ancestral lineages, our relationships, our patterns, our wounds. And for some people, it is trauma. And so there is a lot. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot going on in the world right now.
Oh yeah.
A lot going on politically, but also a lot of people who are a little more sensitive are tuning into it energetically. And, it can feel really overwhelming to some people, even if it's just a matter of watching too much news or whatever. It can feel like a lot of input. It can send us into a little bit of a spin. And really, again, there's no stopping this momentum. It's going to continue, and we need to find a way to help navigate it, to find our grounding, our footing, and also our healing. We all come into this world with a purpose. Um, Whether or not we're doing that in our work or just in our daily lives, there's something in us that we came here to do, and sometimes we get a little stuck. And it's interesting, and that's where I feel like the ancestors are just so helpful. They want us to succeed. They're like our personal squad, to use the vernacular. Our spirit squad, or I call them my spirit posse. Um,
I
but
like that.
it's really, as I'm feeling them, like kind of giggling a little bit, like they're really here to help us succeed in the world. And so within that, there's like really some really deep and interesting places we can go when we start looking at our generational healing. And for me, we can look at our patterns, like where do we get stuck, why are we stuck, and we can go to an absolutely wonderful places to do is to go to therapy and to talk to people and get that support. And for me, I want to go to the source. I want to understand why I am the way I am. I want to remember who I am. And for me, my ancestors inform that, who I am in the world, why I am the way I am, both in my gifts and in my struggles. And so when I talk to my ancestors,
Mhm.
I feel that alive in my body.
Mhm.
And so again, going to the source to find out, well, why do I hesitate to step out into the world? Where did that come from? I can look at my grandmothers on various sides. I can look at my grandfathers on each side and really tune in and fine tune and follow that thread and go, oh, where did that start and what can be done to shift it? And that's where the ancestors, again, can be really helpful in teaching us how to shift our patterns. And
Mm.
with that comes, just for me again, like uh, a different level of compassion for myself in my
Right.
process,
Yep.
for my family
Mhm.
when I, bump into that. And really, I can't stress enough that when we start to do this level of ancestral and intergenerational healing, we're not just healing ourselves. It's sort of like those, folks who do regular meditation. They send out metta. They, when they send out love, they hope that when by gathering in a certain way and doing this meditation, it helps everyone else, to the benefit of everybody. And this
Yep.
is a similar work. It's to the benefit of everyone, not just ourselves. We're healing us, we're healing our families, we're healing our ancestors, and we're healing really the generations to come.
Mhm.
Which is so deeply huge to me. And another level of passion for me is our young ones are coming in with such incredible gifts right now. And so
Yep.
why not take the responsibility of healing some of our blockages so that they don't have to inherit it, so they can come in and just do their thing like
Mhm.
we want to be doing our thing,
Mhm.
where do we get stuck? Some people are out there doing their thing and hell's yeah, but some people don't need a point of origin. They need a place to start. Like, where do I start with this?
Yeah.
um
Yeah, I think that's something that's often overlooked, because I think a lot of people don't know that this is an accessible arena in which to to play, to heal, and to get some understanding.
yeah,
So I'm whether you can give an example from your own healing, or perhaps a client of yours. I mean, I get what you're saying about healing blockages and understanding, but I would love a tangible example if you have one.
yeah, I think easiest to speak of my own journey a little bit.
Yeah.
And I struggled with depression for a really long time.
Mhm.
um and a lot as I kind of got older, and as I began to cultivate these relationships with my ancestors, what started to unfold was this, and as much as, and I've oh, so many directions to go in. Let me see if I can stay focused on it. I come from a line of folks who came to the United States and self-made families, etc., in their own ways, and my father's side in particular, and a lot of pressure to follow a particular program. This is how it's done. This is what you do. You come, you work hard, you do this, you do that, etc. You follow the program,
Yeah.
and that program was crushing my spirit. It's not what I was meant to do. I was kind of following this thing, and it was confusing to me, and it made no sense to me, and it wasn't work I loved. It was just something that made sense because it was the safe thing to do. And um, there came a point where I started to make choices that were for me, not based on anybody else's idea of who I should be in the world. And this really started to change my trajectory. And then with that started to come this introduction really of the work with my ancestors and understanding why we needed this program. We actually needed it to survive, to get by, to make a new life in a new land, etc. And so I was able to have compassion for the people that were putting pressure on me to be a certain way, and also find the courage to say thank you. Thank you for bringing me to this moment. Thank you for bringing me here. And I need to forge a new path.
Yeah.
And here I am doing this crazy work now, and encouraging other people to do that as well. It's scary for a lot of people to break free of those programs. We all have a lot of internal deep, and this is what I'm talking about, those ancestral patterns, those programming.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
I appreciate.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to call out something that I think is really important, that a lot of us can tend to overlook is, the things that we're trying to release, heal from, etc., had a tremendously important function in our lives, supportive, survival, many, many things. So, yes, it's important to let things go when they no longer serve us, but really to do it from a place of love and honor and respect rather than rejection, right?
That's a big shift where we can move into those places of compassion. And we're talking about kind of doing this and we have to go through what we have to go through. I went through periods of anger and frustration and like, why? And it was this work that got me to a place of like, oh, I get it now. I understand it. And I can say thank you. I always I give gratitude to my ancestors, for bringing me to this moment, and they did what they needed to do in various ways to get by and to survive. And so I'm internally grateful for that, even if it's presented obstacles. Those are challenges. I like to look at them as challenges. And everyone, I'm not saying this is the solution to those who are really struggling with some deeper stuff that needs other support. I'm saying they can actually help each other be supportive. Like I've gone to therapy in conjunction with doing this work, and it's been a beautiful balance to have that extra support as well as I've kind of moved through my own healing process of things I needed to take care of, and move through and find peace with.
Yeah.
And so, really it's also work that never ends. So I will say that if you're choosing to open this door, if you find a yes to this work, know that it's a commitment, and it can be a loving, beautiful, amazing, and powerful journey, as well as challenging and sometimes painful, to really start looking at some truths that need some healing. And some letting go of, and some tender loving care. They really, when I create an altar like this, it's really a hopeful place to hope that they can meet you at, to help hold what you're working with.
Yeah.
They really do want to help, and they will help hold it. It's just sort of opening that conversation, opening that gate, and having that conversation, and saying, please help. I'm asking for your help.
Yeah. That's really great. So I know that not everybody can stay on for this whole recording.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you now, and I'm going to ask you later. How can people get in touch with you if they want to find out some more about working with you and taking the next step?
HathorsCircle.com. That's my website. I'm also have a Facebook page. You can check me out there. I'm on Instagram. Same thing, Hathor Circle.
Can you spell that, please?
Absolutely. Can I? Hathor is in the goddess. HATHORS. Circle. CIRCLE. I'm like, what spelling bee? Hathor Circle. .com.
Yep.
And so, yeah, there's lots of information on my work, some videos, some other interviews, and there is a way to message me and ask me any questions you may have. I also offer 30-minute consultations that are complimentary. So I understand that this is sensitive work, it's intimate work. And so it makes sense to have a conversation to make sure it's a match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Personally, it's important. It's an important conversation for both of us to have. So
yeah, thank you. And I'm going to have you do the spelling bee one more time at the end of this call. But I wanted to follow up on a thread that you just shared, about this really being sensitive work. So
Mm.
first of all, it being work and it being a journey,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it's important, for everybody who's considering this to recognize that, this is not, what's the word, a magic bullet approach to healing,
Mm.
as any, I think any legitimate system of healing is, right? It doesn't happen like that. I mean, there can be aspects that happen quickly and instantaneously. And then there's more work to do to ground that and to really, really make that a part of our experience. So that's one thing I want to call out. And then the second thing about the sensitivity, I think many of us, whether we know it or not, have ancestors. And I mean, this could even be one generation, beyond us who have passed away, who were um, not loving, supportive people in our lives, if not, dangerous and abusive and stuff like that. So, how do you navigate that kind of situation with people?
Absolutely. Um, I'm going to address the second part, but I think mostly it might address the first as well. But there are a couple of aspects to that. First, in my work with Meladoma, he teaches that often even our most unsupportive and challenging ancestors, when they cross over completely, uh, look back and take a look at what they left behind and go, ooh, yeah, okay, I actually want to help heal that. And I have worked with folks who don't want to be in touch with those ancestors, and I hold that boundary. I'm like, you're not ready, then we're not going to bring them through. But over time, there's one person I'm thinking in particular, through various sessions, there was an openness and a willingness to at least begin that process, because they kept showing up in earnest of like, I really, I won't come forward unless I'm invited, and I'm seeking your forgiveness, and I really want to make up for my behavior. So that does happen. They really, and I've had direct experience with one of my ancestors where their energy really does change. It's a palpable difference from who they were in this world to who they've become in the other world. When there's a clean crossing, that doesn't always happen, and that's a whole other avenue of work that I do with helping ancestors cross that are feeling stuck. And so, yeah, working with challenging ancestors is definitely, it's not easy. I don't teach that forgiveness is necessary. Like that's a triggering place for people to go, that it's not going to happen unless you forgive them. No, you get there or you don't. It's up to you. But I do believe, and I have experienced that those ancestors, if they've crossed over, want to heal, and if they haven't because of their behavior, it's actually beneficial to help them cross.
Mm.
And I say that because that stuck energy, when it's stuck between worlds, I'm getting a little woo woo, but stay with me,
Hmm.
actually affects those that are still here.
Right.
Because they're still in that vibration, that negative vibration, that abusive vibration. And it actually helps the people who are remaining to help them cross. It helps clean up
Mm.
that energy. It helps create flow. It helps to allow for a different level of healing for those that have remained. It's again getting a little out there, but it really, when essentially we're talking about people who are stuck, or what we like to call ghosts, and
Mhm.
there's an energetic vibration that remains, and so those who are connected to them feel that, and even those that aren't. If we were like to do mass, what we call ancestralizations, and cross as many people over, we'd be feeling a lot more ease in general in the world.
Mm.
But
Okay.
there is an energetic shift that happens when we help those challenging ancestors move over. um, that can allow for a different access to healing. We'll say it that way. If that's an avenue you want to go down, it's not
Yeah.
really something I push on people. It's a choice that people have to be ready for if they want to choose to work with healing that ancestral relationship, I'll say.
Yeah. Got it.
Mhm.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for saying all that.
Yeah.
Wow. So, such deep work on so many levels. It sounds like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is. It is for me. It is. I've really grateful to a lot of people that I've worked with that um, have also received that experience and mirrored that back to me and shared with me some of the depth shifting in their lives that have happened from choosing to invite this into their lives.
Yeah.
It's something I like to work myself out of a job in some cases, or just like I want people to get to a place where they can start to do this on their own,
Yeah.
to bridge those connections, to nurture them, to tend an altar, to tend a relationship. When you're in a relationship with your ancestors, you're tending a relationship that, like any relationship you would here in our day-to-day lives, and so it takes nurturing, it takes connection, it takes tending, it takes showing up like anyone, like we would do for a friend or family.
Yeah.
So it can it becomes a relationship that can feel really healing and nurturing. I go to my altar and I cry. I go and I get pissed off, and I go and I just sit and I share also all the beautiful things that are happening. It's really a sense of having family in a different way.
Yeah.
Feeling held
Yeah.
in a really deep and beautiful way.
Wow. That's wonderful. Thank you for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really cool. So as we wrap it up here, is there any last thought that you would want to leave people with, as far as ancestor work, what's how would you wrap it up with a bow just now?
you know um if you're looking to investigate this on your own, really, and they were talking to me about this earlier, and because people look for a place to start. Where do I start? Some people are very sensitive and are tuned into spirit in various ways, but they want a relationship with their ancestors, and I find we tend to make things sometimes a little harder than it needs to be. And really, they were saying to share with people to get quiet, um, and find your yes.
Hmm.
Do you want a relationship with your ancestors? Yes. Then speak that to them. Find light a candle, open that dialogue with them, and just say, yes, I'm ready to do this. I want to invite you into this. I'm ready to make this commitment with you. And it's nice to put a little offering or something out there, but it's just one way to open. A really simple way to open the gate is just to find your yes. I'm ready to do this. And when that lands in your body, it, and things start to open up. I would be interested if anyone decides to do that here today, if they say yes and make that time and get quiet and make that commitment, to see what shows up. So.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I really like that a lot, because I think that with most things in life, most important things, yes is not one epic yes, but it's a little yes here that opens up the door for the next possible yes, right? And that, I think, really makes it possible for many people to start, walking down that path, because it's not like, oh my God, I have to make this huge commitment to, do this whole new thing in my life, but it's just like, hey, I want to have relationship with you. Like,
That could
one,
be applied in so many different ways.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
say yes. Let's just say
yeah.
yes.
So,
Just when you drop into your heart and find that place, then I really think that's where things start to flow. So
yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Awesome. So, Sarai, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the work that you do in the world. I know you've impacted a whole bunch of people because I've been paying attention to you for quite a few years at this point.
thank you.
um,
And
yeah,
thank you
and
for what you're doing, and just the support and love that you give to the people you work with. It's really also, I find, vitally important that people have that honest, authentic support in their work.
beautiful. Thank you. And if can you say when was this spelling bee time again? Can
HathorCircle.com.
yeah.
Hathor Circle, HathorCircle.com. HathorCircle.com.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and then for anybody who's listening or watching, you can find me at influencewithaheart.com. And from Sarai and myself, This is interviews with kick-ass heart-based thought leaders, Sarai Schneider being a beautiful representation of that kind of person. And thank you all for being here today, and we will catch you again soon.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye.
Bye.